in the chat. Dope.
Hey, we're trying. Thanks for having us. I think, Puckett, you made that decision, so we'll give you a little bit of benefit on that one. So, yeah, this is an exciting one. I mean, let's be honest. You guys hit it on the desk really nicely. This roster for London, what are we going to get? Nameless mentioned it. It's kind of a revolving door right now, it feels like, where you throw something at the wall and you see what sticks, my friend.
Yeah, you're given all the different pieces of the puzzle. What makes the beautiful picture is we take a look at some of these rosters that have been revolving through that door that you were talking about. Paul back in, Zero was out. Scrapz is also here as well, and the difference is what you're going to be expecting from Paul in that main AR role. A little bit more proactivity in the hard point, knowing where he needs to be at certain points in time. He was dropping numbers even in a losing fashion.
Oh, absolutely, and you brought it up on the desk as well when you kind of compare the two. You expect Paul to play with a little bit more vigor, a little bit more speed, and who knows, maybe those numbers are reflective of that. The other thing about this is, like, here's the thing that I kind of really rest my head on when it comes to this London team, especially in the respawn, is as a team overall, KD, they're not getting heavily outslayed. I mean, we see it from aBeZy. He's obviously taking over so many moments in time, but what you're going to get out of a team like Paul is his ability to kind of help IGLing from the back and definitely being selfless when it comes to getting on the hard point. That's where they're missing out. They're just not getting on the objective.
Yeah, it's all about just being able to convert. All of these eliminations that aBeZy is finding across the map, it's great. His stat lines are just absolutely gross at most times, but you need to generate more hardpoint time off of that. If aBeZy's not going to be the one that's on the hardpoint, we know that Nastie has been generating the highest amount of hardpoint time for this roster of the Ravens. Somebody needs to be able to be there to help things out around the hardpoint. You just can't leave Nastie ghosted on the hardpoint for the back 30 seconds. We're going to be looking for Paul to be able to anchor out those longer lines of sight through the middle of the map or across these different fixtures of whatever map you're talking about to help things out in that matter.
And look, we know iLLeY's going to be looking at this as well when it comes to evaluating this form of the roster. How cohesive are both the ARs going to play together, and then how do they relate to the subs that are going to be up front? A lot of things to look for, really. I mean, as much as this match may not seem super important because of how they are right now in the overall standings for Stage 2, this is a crucial overall match to try to find a way into that winner's bracket and try to stay away from that very, very devious lower round 1 matchup. But here's your maps and modes. Fortress Hardpoint at Proper Talk to me here. This was kind of a surprise to see Thieves let this through in the first place.
I mean, Thieves got to be feeling pretty darn good about this map mode combination on Fortress Hardpoint. The last time that they played this one in particular, obviously with Kenny, the guy was going off, and he was creating so much space, and he was creating so many different opportunities for the LA Thieves to be able to generate a lot of that hardpoint time. On the opposite side, for London, the last time that they played it, I believe that, let's call a spade here, brother. They ripped the rugs right out from Minnesota. They completely got away with highway robbery and being able to win that in P2 the way that they did. And that's when we start talking about their cohesion in those issues alike. Are London going to give them a run for their money as far as what that front to back line is going to look like? These SMGs from London definitely need the assistance from their ARs here.
I definitely don't want to throw too much too soon, but I think there are some Thieves fans out there saying, why is Mercado Search and Destroy still in the mix for a possible map 5 considering what we saw yesterday? But let's just take the focus right on into this Fortress Hardpoint, because we spent a lot of time talking about that guy top left. But how about Capsidal? I mean, you have to think that on a map like this, he's the one that has to try to go and play a one-on-one with the team. Look to see how aggressive he can get, and if he's going to find efficiency kind of on that rogue route and to open up space for his ARs to start moving forward, because LA Thieves had a very difficult time setting up or finding any even looks whatsoever towards the third hard point on Fountain. That's going to be a key victory point here for either of these two squads.
Yeah, growing pains are always going to be something that you're going to obviously deal with when you have to bring in a last-second substitute, especially with the big YY shoes that you have to fill of Quavo Ken, right? It's just one of those things that Capsidal is going to have to come into his own, you know, kind of thrown into the blender here with Octane, Drazah, and Envoy, just to be able to see what they're able to do. And just to kind of echo the desk one more time, Capsidal came out in that first map, and he was cooking. I mean, 28 and 25, 1.12 overall. You can see here from top to bottom as far as the season KD is concerned. Obviously a much smaller sample pool there for Capsidal after just one series comparatively to Kenny. But if you let this guy go off, you basically just want to be surrounding him. You and I get to see it a lot in challengers, what he's able to produce when his ARs are right there to back things up of what Capsidal is producing with an SMG.
That 1.86 search and destroy KD, that's through the Elite Season 1 thus far. His team is technically still alive in the lower semifinals of that Challengers Elite season, but that 1.86 is good enough for second globally in Challengers Elite. And when you think about the Thieves and kind of their downfalls in Search and Destroy, not just yesterday, but kind of historically, that's where you say, okay, Caps is not just filling in to try to fill those shoes of Kenny, but maybe he can actually help improve this team in the Search and Destroy.
Yeah, I mean, just one of the most zany stat lines I've ever seen come across from challengers in general. Off of 2 days of playing through the Elite, CapsIt was 20-5 as far as KD is concerned.
Ridiculous.
In Search and Destroy. I mean, the guy has just been going off. And to go back to your little Thieves fan conversation, that's why the Mercado Search and Destroy is going to be there for map number 5 if we get there. But map 1 is where we're going to be starting off here. Fortress Hardpoint. Oh man, brother, I'm so excited to see how these two teams stack up against each other on this map mode.
All right, let's have some fun there, friends, family, all you crazy COD fanatics. We've got London Royal Ravens, Los Angeles Thieves. Kind of a must-win matchup for both of these two squads. And yeah, you got a spotlight to see him get 1.44 just on the map. 30 kills over the course of a 10-minute average. That's ridiculous, but it's Ravens, it's Thieves. Brother, let's get it on.
Starting off on the favorite side of the map, there are the Thieves, but obviously you want to be able to maintain that. We can already see Seam in particular wanting to get aggressive through mid-maps. A 3-for-1 trade is nothing to scoff at, especially with Nastie spotting over by our pillars.
Good so far, though, on the initial trades. Thieves a chance to try to recontest, neutralize some of this time. But it's London right off the backside of their second respawns, getting a full 4-man feed, and now they start to stretch across the map, flip the spawns around while not stepping foot off of the hard point at all. It's very successful, my goodness. And a little bit of just, again, looking at Paul in the hard point. Just wanted to be the guy to soak up time for the squad, and he's done very successful. A 4-0 start.
Yeah, the successful, I think that's putting it just ever so slight. I mean, a 4-0 start for your main AR for London Royal Ravens, that's definitely what you want to see with all the hard point time being generated. 30+ seconds off of P1. You upset LAT for starting off on the favorite side of the map, and you hold rotations ahead of new. You couldn't have asked for a better start for the Ravens.
Scrap time will fade away. Caps trying to work his way through the windows. A Seam going to get a read. That Envoy's also on the stretch play from the bottom part of the map. Tries to reset. Little pinch. Long-range shots to Envoy. Decent, but not good for the kill. And Thieves will spawn in. Pressure now amounting for the Ravens, but they deal with it so darn well. And I will go ahead and say we asked the question, what would the cohesion look like with Paul in the mix? So far, not that bad at all for the Royal Ravens. Thieves still with the proximal spawns, a chance to recontest, and they will be able to neutralize for now.
And Nastie with Dead Silence just looking to play in and around R through this side door, waiting for that assistance. You can see Paul on the mini-map. He's through just the closed doors right now. Nastie just still being a nuisance inside of Art. It's just making this so expensive for the Thieves just to fully break in for what is about to be all of, what, 25 seconds or so, comparatively to where they generate the majority of their time when they are on Fortress Hardpoint. Not looking good so far, but the London Royal Ravens, their cohesion, Alan, so far, so good.
And here's that point of contest. The Thieves have been atrocious on Fountain in the history of them playing this match, which again, the sample size is not tremendously large, but take a look at number 3. Seam is already clearing out the north side of the map. The Ravens are gonna have a great look as far as where exactly this hit's coming from. Trigger discipline from a Seam, good for the double. Also a read that Drazah's in the back, and that'll be left for Paul and Nastie to clean up. Absolute perfection from the Ravens here in the third.
So tough to gauge, especially from the Thieves' perspective. You get that first elimination, you want to be able to fly through maps, get yourself through that big door, and then just try to upset the spawns, because as you saw it seem like you were talking about there, buddy, it's just in the right place, the right time to be able to upset any sort of break attempt that the Thieves were looking at. Down to scrap time left to play, and London might just threaten to get over 100 points already when Paul is snapping on the hill itself. Has a Seam, his help through Blacksmith, and yeah, that's a pretty confident about full 60 there for London on 3.
I'll say it, Seam's already threatening new around the back, just being a problem. Will force the Thieves to kind of have to back off just a touch. Space to exit here for the Royal Ravens, which is great news if you're a London fan. Octane trying to change that, though, by getting forward in towards the windows. Long-range gunfight with Paul. Doesn't love the look of it, so just back off, and, well, it finds himself Nastie through the window. Royal Ravens already threatening, forcing the Thieves off the hard point, and a 96-28 affair. Fortunate for the Thieves to be able to clean up this next stretch. They can get on to Cannon and start generating some much-needed time.
Yeah, big moments here from Envoy all the way in the back. Only has a Vaznet left to play with, but as long as you're able to find at least an elimination or two and convey the information for your teammates inside the hard point, you're going to be in a pretty good spot, especially with Octane as far south as he can possibly go. Watching that mid-cut, this is forcing all the Ravens to hit through the gallows, where Envoy is still lying in wait on a 4.
Exactly what the doctor ordered here for the Thieves. 24 seconds to fight for. Ravens maybe considering throwing 2 members to try to finesse the scrap time, but you don't want to give away mid-map on the rotation to new, but they may have to kind of back off the finesse play altogether, as once more the Thieves just kind of bounce out of the hard point, find the kills they need, and all of a sudden, hold your horses here, friends. You look towards the scoreboard, we've got ourselves a close game as the Blacksmith hard point opens up. Thieves controlling mid-map. A little bit of a problem for them. but at least a chance to see it go neutral as we open up the fourth hill.
All Scrapz and Nastie, they both lose their life trying to get closer towards maps. You still have aBeZy to be worried about their top singles. You can see through the X-ray and on the mini-map, but dealing with Paul inside of stables, that's what you wanted to see. Envoy spree still going on. Has a cruise missile to play with if he wants it.
And he can hold his life a little while longer. Gets the regen, and now he's once again kind of the vanguard in this play. Holding forward, it'll stop at 8, the full streak. Drazah tagged up, no more help remaining, and it's Paul with the double to once again recontrol some position around the Blacksmith hardpoint. To see him up top, furthering the point. As Drazah is kind of the last one from the opposite side of the map. Maybe a chance to try to pinch this up. Yeah, well done. Timing is great there. Capsule through mid, able to once again reclaim as this tug of war continues back and forth. 13 seconds worth of scrap time, and it looks like the Thieves are largely going to have this conceded to their favor.
How to flip the coin of a bad case scenario, especially through the first 3 hardpoints worth of play for Los Angeles Thieves. And now you have yourself just about a dead even game, and it will actually be just that going in towards the second set. On Royal Ravens going to be scratching their heads as far as how they were not able to break 4 and how they kind of got thrown for a loop there on 5. But LAT just hot off the presses from the first set of hardpoints, finding more eliminations. Drazah already threatening for the early time.
And just tally the scoreboard real quick. Look at the time shared for London Royal Ravens, or should I say the time not shared by the Ravens. Minute 35 in the hill for Paul. The next closest is 12 seconds from Nastie. So there's very much so a cognitive decision here for the team as far as what they want to do in and around the objective. Maybe something to be said about Nastie wanting to play a bit more aggressive with the seam. If it's working out, hard to say for sure yet. Caps, broken cameras. Seam takes him not just down for the first, but furthers it by taking out Octane, and that will be a 3-for-2 exchange. Draws the last one left, but keeps the play alive. Off the reload, just has Paul to deal with, then Capsule off the respawn there for assistance. The break is good for Scrap, and Los Angeles will be able to put ourselves into a tie game.
Bit and push past the pillars, though, here for the Thieves, and I love that discipline that's coming through. Cap's able to find 2 inside of Art. Now, if you're Paul and Nastie and towards the back, you just got to hold the line because your reinforcements are spawning in Narnia.
Oh, this is a good read from Octane. Number 5 in white, just kind of watching the cross, delaying any possible reinforcements, and Capsule on 4 secures the break on the initial time. Once again, back and forth. LA back into the lead. Full push from Royal Ravens on the backside. Envoy in trouble. Will fall relatively quickly. Paul there to also follow up. It's clean. Holy, what is this from the Ravens? This is not something we saw when they were playing with 0 just previously. Something seems to be clicking for the boys as once again, back and forth we go, but it's now the Ravens in control.
I mean, that kill feed has just erupted in favor of the Ravens. Even Scrapz on 4 in a row could potentially get a cruise missile to threaten that of Envoys on the opposite side. The rotation is what the Thieves are mostly looking at. They're already dealing with Scrapz, so that spree has been taken out. Nastie looking to pick things up and towards the back. Tough gunfight from Drazah up top, but even just the mere fact of you just trying to threaten this, you should know that LA Thieves are probably going to have a couple players lurking in the middle of the map as the Ravens soak up the last scrap time here on 2.
Yeah, subs just buzzing right now through mid for Thieves. Fountain will open up to their name. Don't need the hold necessarily, but you'd love to have it if you're LA, and Capsule will make sure that it's a little bit more comfortable off this initial attempt. 2 down, but as he drops, London get in towards topside maps. Seam changing the angle, but loses his compadre Nastie right in front. Capsule also bouncing out of the hard point, and this is brilliant from the Thieves. Great lockdown. London yet to even see the fountain.
Yeah, you just have Capsule again, just letting loose, just going off the hard point, trying to find more kills, making it very, very difficult for the Ravens just to be able to find their way in. And even that's, we're down to 26 seconds. You need to make the conscious decision here for the Ravens. How much do you want to invest into breaking this hard point as Envoy finds the last 2? So as a cruise missile, keep in mind, you 21 in 16. Ravens are going to concede the back 10 and try to set up for 4.
Yeah, nearly a full 60 there for Thieves. Great stuff for them. First major lead that they've had so far in this map. The question comes out to how do you rotate through this? Drazah on 5, close to a second cruise missile that Thieves could possibly use. And Envoy's actually going to call his in right here on rotation. The only one that's going to be available is this player in the back. That's Paul, but he stays safe thanks to the trophy at his feet. So Ravens will be able to hold their setup, and here come Thieves quickly off the bounce, trying to get around the back, see if they can force an entry in towards the side doors. Great opening shots from Drazah, but it Scrapz and Nastie to respond in kind. Octane, last one left for the Thieves, but the hard point goes neutral as Caps is able to at least take some Raven members off, and we've got a 50-50 battle for the back 30 seconds.
It's just so unfortunate that you're forced to be able to find those trades in the back. If your flank is not secured, holding on to P4 becomes a little bit more of a frustration tactic than anything. Nice play Semtex there from Nastie. We'll get Octane out from the cage now, essentially a 1v1. here inside of Art, potentially for the scrap time if Envoy wants it, but mostly looking for these lurking players around this hard point at this current juncture of time. Very handshaky, going back and forth. Even this 1v1, yeah, Nastie's going to be able to get some help there from Scrapz. That'll confirm the back 10 seconds. Scrapz on a 7th spree, got himself a cruise.
Yeah, Matty Marshall getting a little fired up, and the player cam as well on 7. And that leads to, again, just about a dead tie game. My word. No one wants to step foot into the hard point as of yet. Drazah the first one to fall on the action, but Envoy gets on, forces the Ravens to have to start to play a little bit further forward here as we get closer and closer to the 250 mark. It's Thieves in the kill feed all over the place. Long-range shots from Scrapz. A little bit of a heat check for him, trying to find Envoy in the corner. Can't quite catch the angle. Teammates, though, here for help. Little jump peek. Octane weakened up. Paul looking to finish. Oh, and Octane just playing with his food. Dances away. But it's the Ravens able to neutralize. Can they follow up the gunfights needed to win this scrap time with 25 seconds? Thieves looking to try to pinch this back and forth. Pinch strike goes to kill feed. Envoy from the corner. Paul trying to shut him down. Shots are there, and it's now all of a sudden onto the Thieves to try to break through this little trap.
Birthday boy Paul showing up in a big way on a 3 spree, even shutting down Capsidol over by the closed archway. Is just so massive to be able to maintain maps control, be able to confirm the back 20 seconds. 223 to 211. You're going to start investing some of these streaks. Drazah's going to go first. Going to be looking to be able to get in the hard point itself. Stay safe. It Scrapz in the new hill.
That's key. Hard point opens up for the Ravens' name. 230 to 211. Thieves, though, will get one player to spawn all the way towards the outside. That's Caps. Could he finally try to find a way to pinch this? Scrapz feeling the pressure, calls the cruise missile essentially onto himself. Oh, but it doesn't quite land. Envoy on the break attempt. It's good for the Thieves. 238 is the score that it stops at for the Royal Ravens, but Nastie may have found a bit of an opening. Gets to the backside of the truck to neutralize once again. Scrappy gunfights in and around the hard point, but it's the Ravens who hold the numbers and the middle of the map. Thieves have to go. You can still win here if you're the Royal Ravens. All this coming through mid. It's all just a conga line, but it's coming out pretty successful. Envoy, Drazah, they able to find themselves a full 4-man feed, and it looks like we're going to see another hill.
Yeah, this was all going down with Capsidol trying to threaten the rotation over towards the back. Envoy reprises, battles for the scrap time. Now you got to be able to cut down mid-map. There's no way you would expect Capsidol to be in that corner, even fighting 2. Makes it tough for Ravens to try to push through.
Ravens still spawning out. Hardpoint not active yet at the Gallows. The Thieves, they understand that this is going to be a very quick hit from the Royal Ravens, largely taking their numbers off the hardpoint. Spawn still not in for London. Where do you spawn here for Thieves? You still spawn out, so now every single gunfight's a big one. 238, 242. And London just aren't finding a single gunfight. Nastie in the corner, shut down. There's nobody here to touch. Thieves, a chance to put this map away and steal it right out of the noses of the Royal Ravens. 247, can anyone get here? Doesn't look likely, and the zone is good as LA take map number 1.
It's just so big in that third and final set of hard points to be able to make that conscious decision for the Thieves. Doing quick maps in their head as they're trying to battle for a positional advantage in and around of Art. To know, hey, we got to be able to contest this hard point. They could win, just like you were talking about their shift. But even more so than that, we want to be able to maintain spawns for the next hard point. Thieves were very aware of the fact that they were going to be able to win on P1. But what they could do is put themselves in the best winning position possible to be able to win the rotation over towards 2 while keeping P1 contested. They'll win by 8.
Take a look back at that hill time again. I mean, we're getting some real clear-cut answers as far as what does London want to do with Paul. 2 minutes and 26 seconds in the hill, 11 objective kills. I mean, come on, that's unbelievable from him, but who's going to follow up behind that? We had those questions when we were watching over London when they were playing with Zero. It's like, you get one player on the hard point, but as soon as they are not able to really quite get there for objective time, who's there to follow up? On the opposite side for the Thieves, hey, it's pretty much everyone's doing the job of making sure they can get the hill time needed. Drazah, big map out of him, 26 and 23, but 20 of those kills non-traded. Still couldn't match up to Envoy. A lot of people had some things to say about his performance yesterday. What a map one he just had at 32 total kills, 3,300 damage. And the scuff play of the game, that's right here in the shutdown for Big Cap, the sub-in.
Yeah, again, it was this positional advantage. I mean, the heads-up play from Capsidol through so many different instances throughout this Albagra Fortress map number 1. Caps was putting in the dirty work. He was just everywhere that he needed to be in the right place and time, playing these ready corners that really pissed me off in my Mosh Pit games. But Capsidol was playing it to such a high degree, just making sure that the reinforcements for the Ravens weren't as robust as they had wanted. And even in this moment as well, Drazah on the opposite side, making sure that the flank stayed secured. You have to get through Drazah first, and then you have to get through Octane on the opposite side. If you don't win the battle on those 2 fronts, yeah, Ravens, you're never going to get to the hill.
Yeah, Yeah, great shutdown, but what a first map this is. Again, there's so much to learn about both of these two teams. And in a map that we kind of expected seemed to possibly be the spotlight focus, Paul definitely stepped in and said, hey, remember me? I'm still here, still hanging, still doing the darn thing. When we take a look towards the full series, and initially kind of after the Fortress hardpoint, especially with some of the statistical success that London have had, that changes the dynamic of this whole series layout, because now you've got a hotel search and destroy. It kind of feels like for LA, just to get off of this bandwagon of some poor search performances in the past, you kind of have to win it, but you've got a lifeline here by winning that first map if you're the Thieves.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. I mean, if there's one thing we know for certain about LA is that their respawns have been infinitely better than their search and destroy. That is both statistically obvious and even off of their performances of what we saw yesterday. There's obviously that small sample pool. CapsItAll has to fill just a very tough role, but this could be where they might be able to have a little bit more of an opening. That said, going into this map number 2 for the Ravens side of things, they haven't played this since week 1. You heard Puckett talk about it on the desk. We also haven't seen the Ravens win any points since week 1. I don't know, man. Maybe the stars are aligning here.
It's just interesting because at a certain point, I think the desk brought this up when it comes down to some of the success stories that the Royal Ravens had in those first 2 weeks. All of a sudden, their key maps in those first 2 matches were starting to get vetoed away. But that necessarily has not been the case lately. And a lot of the focus has been more about the roster, let alone kind of the talk about, well, what maps do we want to play? Let's just find a 4. I think that's kind of the major point of conversation. So maybe something here when it comes down to being able to go to something that, yeah, was a key to success for them when they were on that 2-game winning streak, which is as total as it gets, unfortunately, for Ravens fans. But on the other side, here's the thing about the Thieves. We see this very regularly. You need CapsItAll to really start to show up here. He didn't really have a chance to move around the map on Mercado yesterday. This would be where we really see the high ceiling potential here from Caps, if he can find a way to kind of open up the map for a squad.
Yeah, I mean, CapsItAll was put in so many tough situations yesterday on Mercado. I mean, we know for a fact, and even Miles shouted it out on broadcast yesterday while they were casting over that Mercado, is that CapsItAll in Search and Destroy, this guy loves to hit in the middle of the map. You take a look at Paul's stats this season in Search and Destroy in particular, you know what you're going to get out of Paul. He's been grinding Search and Destroy since he's been able to hold a controller. 1.111 KD ratio on attack is where he finds the most damage at 1.48.
A lot of things to look at, but I think it's just down to what does the playbook, how deep does it go here for the Ravens with a brand new player in the mix, so to speak. I mean, the thing about it, you could really, if you really wanted to dig it back into it, is like maybe Paul was the reason that they loved this hotel search, because that's when he was still on the roster. So a lot of things to consider. It'll be the offense opening up for LA. And a quick look over towards B. It's aBeZy who's going to be here to throw shoulders and see if he can get a read on this. He'll have help from Scrapz first blood, good. And that will automatically have to change up the mentality here for the Thieves, who are kind of stuck right now in Restaurant.
I mean, they're not backing down. Drazah's still trying to take more space. Scrapz is going to get stunned up inside of the kitchen, but I mean, what a standardized setup just to come out from the Ravens. Paul finds one more at 2v4.
A lot of work to be done here if you're the Thieves. No map to work with whatsoever, but Drazah gets gifted an opportunity to take down Nastie, plus information on Paul. Nades coming through. Ooh. Shotzzy gets behind a cushion to stay alive. Now the Thieves on their move. Good isolation. And for one of the teams that is the worst at converting a 3v4, this would be incredible for them to find a way to go 2v4. Just down to Octane, collects the bomb, 30 seconds. Scrapz offers a gunfight at range. Not quite able to secure it, and that will be enough for the second challenge to come through. Ravens take the opener.
About to say, Octane's got an AR. Is this really the guy, whether or not he's one shot or not, you want to give so many isolated 1v1s with? He was starting to hit some pretty crucial shots, but it's a scene. We know how gross he can be in these individual duels. He'll find 2-0 to start that first round here on Hotel Search. And yeah, I mean, the standardized setup comes through because if you're the Ravens, you don't want to just give up one site to be able to fully stack him towards the other. They make sure they have players like Nastie playing the head glitch through the atrium, make sure that they're maintaining bedroom control like you were talking about their shift, and never really felt like that the Ravens lost map control.
So what do they have to offer now for their first attack? aBeZy, we've seen this before from his old days, just trying to open up space, create some doubt on where this hit's going to come from, and he is moving rapidly into kitchen. I mean, take a look at this. The Ravens are kind of holding up to see what exactly aBeZy can find, but they don't expect CapsItAll to just run into their faces. Bomb carrier down, and look at this has done to the offensive setup of the Ravens. They've backed off that mid-lobby area, waiting for aBeZy to try to open up space from behind. He's got a great look at the middle of the map, but trades back and forth keep us at a 2v2.
Bomb now dropped just inside a statue. Now you got Drazah with Dead Silence. He's being proactive around the back. Unbeknownst to Asim and Scrapz, they are actually very trapped in the atrium. More Scrapz than anything, who recovers the bomb. You would never expect Drazah to be back here.
There's a lot of unexpected in this round right now, I think, from both sides. But the thorn possibly intended to the side of the Thieves and Asim has largely been unchecked and relatively unproductive from his play off the long flank. 1v2 situation, not a lot of time. First couple of tags into Octane. Bomb still down essentially at Octane's feet. He's got a great look at this. Drazah would be there for help. Dead Silence about to come up. Forces the 1v1. Pre-fires back and forth, but Octane takes the dub. And we get knotted up at one early.
It would have felt like there wouldn't have been enough time to be able to find those 2 eliminations, especially where Drazah and Octane were playing just so isolated from one another. One all the way back by shots here. Octane for the final kill cam inside of Wine. But I love that call that's been coming through. I mean, that's what you expect out of Capsidol. Going 1 for 1 there over by the L desk is everything, because then it confirms so much information for the rest of the players of the Thieves on where they have to counter-rotate towards, and then Drazah popping Dead Silence, just making everybody trapped. If you're the Ravens in that situation, in a 2v-odd situation, you're basically banking on Asim to be able to have Dead Silence and make a play through the middle. He didn't, and they all got trapped.
Thieves this time off the opener from their attack, all focused on the A site. 3 defensive members here for the Ravens, but as the ceremonious dates come through, it's Scrapz who tries to take a peek and says, well, no one's here initially. Capsidol mid-map actually gets a kill onto Paul. That will open up things completely here for the Thieves. Make it 2. Has a chance possibly to take down Nastie. Oh my! Just left him with seeing the last one up. And Cap maybe good for the full ace. Yeah, sure, gave it to him. On a silver platter, mind you, why don't you?
And that's what you got to see yesterday. You'll always see this from the Thieves, is that they're bouncing around their trophy systems along with Dead Silence. Once Capsidol can load into this offensive round, he has Dead Silence. And again, I don't want to sound like a broken record, but this guy, Big Cap, loves hitting through the middle of the map with Dead Silence, walking away with an entire ace. A couple smiles across the board there for the Thieves as well. Yeah, how could you not when Capsidol gets an ace here in his second match of the CDL season for Modern Warfare 2?
This is where all the narratives were set up for yesterday. Don't want to see him on a Mercado. Put him on an open map where you can make some routes happen. The guy's good. Pretty good. 4 in a row, obviously, now for Caps. As, look at this for the Thieves. All 4 members right through mid-trophy to keep him safe, or so you'd think. Caps getting stunned. Looked like his teammate with him, and Envoy also stunned up. Doesn't make a difference. The double challenge is just absolutely perfect. 3 for 1, the exchange. Scrapz very rapidly into a 1v3. He's collected the first, but, well, the hurdles, they're tall, and these obstacles are not very easy to traverse, especially considering the circumstances. Clean stuff from LA.
But I ask, what's your vertical look like there, Scrapz? Because that hurdle is a mighty one. Had Dead Silence to play with. Bomb dropped essentially all the way inside a restaurant. And the quad hit through the atrium as unconventional, I suppose, as it may be for the Thieves. It does work out, albeit finding a stun. You don't know how much information you're able to get off that one stun. The double challenge from Envoy and Capsidol pays massively. One for which Capsidol has that hard read on the player trying to hit through the rug side of Wine. These just really have not lost numbers apart from that first round.
Yeah, and how about that? I mean, this is a team that is, statistically speaking, 3rd in the CDL when it comes to winning first bloods, but 11th in the CDL when it comes to turning those first bloods into round wins. That is a number that is already changing rapidly in front of our faces. Go to a 3v3 opening exchange after the first blood leads to some space over towards A. A lot of vacancy here. I mean, Caps is just watching mid-map, and that's a lot of respect for the Royal Ravens saying, we don't want Caps to get in our back line again, so they're going to forfeit the plant and have to play retake 3v3.
Right call here, just to be able to maintain numbers in this 3v3, but you have so much space that you have to clear away. Drazah, especially into the backside of P2. Hits mostly coming through from the atrium as Nastie goes up top.
Caps just needs to get 1 from this position. He's got help behind him, but he is the alarm system for this post plant. Tries to cross the bottom luggage, not going to work out for him, and now all of a sudden the Ravens can jump right on in towards the site, but there's still confusion on where are the Thieves. They found out Octane. Drazah, do you have an angle at this bomb? Has to check it soon. Scrapz on the movement through. First shots are there. Tries to get the second. Would have been a round-winning play, but the 3v3 retake, good for London.
Yeah, and that's exactly what you want to do. You just want to try to maintain the presence on the map. Don't fall or don't succumb to the pace differential that Capsidol is trying to set through the middle of the map, albeit in a 3v3. You just anchor through the middle of the map, you play for the retake, and then you just start picking them apart one by one. Asim having himself a laugh there throughout the retake as well. It's kind of like a few of those breaks that we saw through the hard point. This is the cohesion that we want to see from the Ravens when they're trying to take back the map.
How much of that is the X factor of Paul possibly being in the mix on a number of these winning rounds all of a sudden for London. 4 in a row, though, for Simp. He will once again, this is a very similar setup as round 1 offense for London. Have a team kind of play over towards B, let the rest of the troops kind of feel things out over on towards the A site. Once again, it's Capsule trying to get a little bit aggressive through archways, but will back down. And I think London, oh man, they're going to be in a really weird piece of timing here. Thieves have backed off to defend this A site, and there's not a lot of utility left here for London.
Oh, Michael Bay film has already come and it's gone. Some shots are going to be coming through from top and bottom bedroom just to see if you can get a couple of hit markers, get some information. I love this call out from London Royal Ravens. Again, just trying to catch the Thieves in an unforced error in their aggressive ways. But as you say, they back down. Now Ravens have to push forward.
Drazah shows himself on the shoulder check. Who's going to move first? That's the question, because you don't have an exit here if you're London. You're stuck. You have to commit to A. There is so much doubt on where exactly the Thieves have moved up through the B side. You can't go back through mid, and you can see exactly why. Octane just kind of shouldering the cross. Very avidly also making sure no one hits a pinch through archway. The Seam's trying to create an opportunity for the bomb to re-wrap, but there's not a lot of time for this to happen, let alone the fact that there is 0 intel. Seam confirms that as Envoy just holds a corner on him. Stun comes out. Nastie stunned up, will likely be contested in 50-50 fashion. Has to win this gunfight and then immediately get the plant. Octane already watching it. No chance, no how. Thieves will take the round. Clean stuff from the defense.
Just what a cool call coming through from the Thieves. You know, you don't find any at all much of information off of your attacks and your throwables in general. So again, you just back down. You play these very annoying positions. You just have to be able to maybe check. Obviously, the information would be mutual if the bomb got planted, but they maintained their numbers to such a high degree that Envoy, when he was finally done eating his lunch inside the restaurant, he's playing that corner. He's just expecting for the push through to come all the way across the wine side. And once the door opens up, he finds a seam. It forces Nastie's hand, and as you also said there, Shift, Octane was quick to make sure that there was no kitchen plant to speak of.
Just great map control from really minute 1 for LA. This time, Drazah, dead silence. Stunned. How does London react to this information? Secondary stun comes out. Also the Semtex. First blood likely going to come to the middle of the map, though. Envoy backing down. Very lucky to be alive, if we're being honest with one another. 60 seconds on the clock, and he whips again. Look back towards Drazah to try to find the 1v1. Maybe to create the go call to get to B, but as he's shut down, the Thieves are scratching their heads, a little puzzled on what they want to do here.
Have presence over by A. The Capsule's looking to create more spacing towards the back. There's still defenders to be worried about over here. Yeah, he finds one off screen. So now it's going to cause more doubt for the defenders. Nastie, anybody going to turn around? Capsule's top catwalk. He gets the information on the next as well. We know Big Cap. He's going to push the gunfight.
You got to have that calm if you're London. Scrapz last one left. Bomb's still not planted yet, but it's going to force a little bit more of a difficult spot here for Matty Marshall. Does get the check over towards A. No one home. Winnable 1v2, sees Caps, but timid of the gunfight. Jump peek, decent for damage. Envoy now here to help. You assume the double chat will come through. Scrapz though predicts it. Now over the top of the head. Yeah, it's a difficult gunfight. And Thieves will put this one into a very comfortable cushion for him. And man, I'll tell you, if they go 2 up in the series, I don't mean to get there too soon, but you start to kind of take the wind out of the sails for London in this second map for sure.
We still have so much of this journey left to go, though, but I tend to agree with you on many different things there, Alan. Even more so than that. I mean, you just got to talk about the value that Capsule is finding continuously with these dead silence plays, even in that final moment as well. Speaking of dead silence, once Scrapz was about to be pushing over towards Jacuzzi, the dead silence was fully dissipated. It's so much more difficult to be able to push into 2 SMGs that are just throwing shoulders at you at that moment of time. Map point here for the Thieves to go up 2-0 in the series.
And how do you win 4 in a row if you're London? It hasn't felt like they've been comfortable really on any of their setups yet, and even, well, further my point for me, why don't you Octane? Easy first blood onto Scrapz. Drazah following up. No way, no how does the team get into the back line this time. And London's designs, well, may have to go back to the drawing board here as they're stuck. I mean, completely isolated. You know for a fact that you've got a lot of focus towards mid, but you don't know where Caps is, which seems to be the steady problem, and that's why Nastie cut up, and it's just down to the new guy on the block. Paul, this would be, well, it'd be something special. 1v4 required.
There's Caps all behind the bench. You take down the guy. He was double positive. Shots coming through behind Paul. Time is not on your side here, friend, and just as they try to chow out, the little peek over by the B control zone was good from Drazah. And how about the Thieves? closing things out on the search and destroy. Go up 2-0 in the series. Did not have it on my bingo card, Alan. I'll keep it a buck with you.
Same here, my man. And the fun thing about this, if you're a Thieves fan, is you kind of look over the course of their search and destroys in the past. Outside of yesterday, I mean, 7 out of their 9 search losses have gone to round 9 or beyond. But on the more positive side of things, the majority of their wins have looked like this. 6-2, 10-6 from Capsule. Whew. Dude, you want to say if Challengers players could make their stat lines remanifest in the CDL, I think we just got our answer from Big Cap.
There's just so much comfort across the map, isn't there? Especially for Drazah, Octane, Envoy, who, I mean, maybe outside of 8s in some other instances are probably teaming with Capsule for the first time. 10-6, a lot of that was all the rogue plays through line. We saw the ace as well a few rounds ago to speak of. It just felt like that when the Ravens were trying to answer back with a more slow, steady pace and trying to catch Thieves out in these unforced errors and maybe waiting for Envoy or Capsule to throw a shoulder to be able to get that first blood, it was just never there. The Thieves answered back with a slow, steady pace of their own.
Wow, 2-0, the series tally. It will have to be a hotel and double dose of Mercado if London were to be able to put together a reverse sweep, which I don't think many people would be willing to take that wager either at the current moment, especially considering how Control has happened. But we've got more on that when we come back. Happy to see you there, friends. Don't go too far. More CDL after this.
Upgrade your game with a Scump, the official controller of the Call of Duty League. The Call of Duty League is presented by the GMC Hummer EV Pickup, the world's first all-electric super truck.
Welcome back there, everyone. We are in the middle of it. Although it feels almost a bit out of reach at the moment. London down 0-2. Thieves looking real solid with the second day of the Capsule experiment. But, hey, we got to take a second to not talk about COD. Paul turned 21 today. You mentioned it during the Fortress Hardpoint. But it's not just the 21st birthday for him. Because it's also the 21st, it's technically his golden birthday. How about some big shout-outs in the chat for Paul X, who's having, let's be honest, a great series considering the score circumstances.
Yeah, he really is making the most out of it, right? I mean, you go back throughout the Fortress Hardpoint was insurmountable to the success that the Ravens ended up having on that map mode combination. Tried their best through the Hotel Search and Destroy, but that's a tale for a different day, perhaps for maybe what Ravens could have done better. But yeah, happy birthday, Paul. Happy to see him back in the league here, along with Nastie, aBeZy, and Scrapz for the Ravens.
Yeah, again, it's been a really nice kind of welcome back party, I think, at least through the first two maps, but this is where things start to get a little bit dicey. The last time the London Royal Ravens won a control was way back at the beginning of December versus LAG. That also includes a loss in the Pro-Am to the LAG Academy team. Need to figure it out, and once again, we kind of stick on to what has been their preferential pick. It's going to be Hotel. No better time to figure it out and nix this 6-game loss streak on control than right here, right now to try to extend the series there, partner.
Yeah, I mean, hey, again, their last win, albeit what feels like an eon ago, was last year for crying out loud. It was on Hotel, and a lot of that success really came through from, you guess it, was going to be Paul. He had a 1.04 with an AR in hand. What can he do here?
Let's find out. It'll be London on the attack first and foremost. Little 3-1 split. A lot of the opening focus towards B. They tried this versus Toronto, where just stack the B zone, get as many points of progress as possible, and then if we have to back up and default back to A, we'll do so. But the first part of that checklist already denied. Drazah takes the final 1v1 to make sure no further threat towards B can be established. Even finds Paul through the doorways, but it'll be Paul who wins the elimination with the team rotating over. This is a chance here. Wait a second. London can actually get some significant progress on towards B here.
Oh, they don't take the bait, though. Capsule finds that one kill over by A, and the rest of the players here for the Thieves are trying to contest over by the B zone. Nastie last alive. Good luck. Have fun there, brother. But Scrapz, the #1 statistical player for the Ravens in the mode, will find 2, but that's all they're going to get. Back to the drawing board. Over to A we go.
And this is that same mentality for London. Get as much as you can from B, and then off the second respawn. Let's go over to Restaurant. Threat, though, from the Thieves. They're on the back. That is not the team nade you wanted to see if you're a London fan, because now that opens the floodgates. Thieves on the way back forward. Do take care of a couple. Scrapz last one left alive on a double, but Capsule just delays long enough to catch the free gunfight. They'll turn and burn home. Capsule now on 3 in a row. 40 seconds on the clock, and the life lead starts to grow for the Thieves.
Mitigated down to at least 3. This is still doable if you are the Ravens. You don't really have anybody in superior positions. There's nobody for the Thieves inside top bedroom, so they're trying to go over towards B. And with that in mind, the Thieves are actually spawning over by shop, so numbers are not here to try to recontest early.
You have to shut down this play through middle, though, if you're the Ravens and you want to add the extra 60 seconds, because here comes the Thieves around the back. Oh, boy. Just down to Scrapz. Last one left. A decent effort. Oh, what a prediction that is from Envoy. 2 HP in a dream. Stunned up to 1 HP. How important was that extra health point there for a moment? May not make much of a difference in the end-all goal. It's really just Paul trying to get on and stop this clock over on the B side. Envoy deals with it for his 3rd in a row, and London are desperately looking for an extra 60 seconds on it.
Got 2 players stacking in at the moment, so that second segment's going to be coming through very quickly. Now, if you are the Thieves, how much investment do you want into this? You can see there's 2 players with the minimap for the Thieves actually completely conceding it, looking for bedroom, in back, garage control. Yeah, they're just going to back down from it. You don't want to throw more lives away with it when you maintain such a life lead.
Yeah, 60 seconds essentially on the clock. You've got a 5 life advantage. No need to do anything crazy. But it is just 1 tick needed here, so 1 break from London may give them a little steal away attacking round. But problem solving has to come through. Nastie throwing shoulders. Has Scrapz with him. They're going to double work over through mid. Drazah's the one to contest this. And oh, he showed off that right quad. Nastie's just waiting for the peak. But the kills in the front are just not here. So this is just now taking extra time. There's a shoulder. Can you get the kill? Can you get the kill? That's not what you want to see from Nastie. Drazah stays alive. Now we're down to 30 seconds.
Scrapz is trying to push it to at least get that elimination and towards the back, but you still have players off screen like Envoy. He's all the way in the back. He's on a spree. You can see up there at the top right. He gets himself a cruise, and like you were saying, I mean, you got to have problem solving on top of winning gunfights, and Both of those things were just not checked off the laundry list. Now it's up to Scrapz. He's the player push up further forward, but find some eliminations. Can't get on the zone, though.
Simp has time to touch this. Last one left. It would be unbelievable. And it will stay that way. Thank goodness. And looking like, for this Thieves squad, as much as we obviously saw the stark statistic out of London, the control from Thieves has not necessarily been super great. So for them to execute some discipline to not retake or try to go for a retake at A, I love that call, and that's just good playmaking.
Oh, look, Octane's loving it, too. He loves listening to you on the CDL, brother. He's just having himself a good old time over there, especially when CapZy is just frying through wine like that continuously, making it so expensive through the opening rip, man. It's just one of those things, again, that you get from CapZy that you can actually trade 1-for-1 for Kenny, because Kenny would be making those egregious challenges happening continuously. Draws a 10 and 6. Envoy, like we were talking about, all the way towards the back, comes in on a 6-3, has a cruise missile.
Oh, and how about 7? Very rapidly now over to Asim's direction. Staying prone. Gives himself a chance to contest this, but only finds one of what needed to be at least 2. So, very early. Pause on the clock, as Thieves will likely guarantee themselves the first tick of progress, but not stacking, looking to potentially just play for a bit of elimination, see if the Ravens want to try to give this a go. The second member on will force the hand maybe a little bit faster here for the Ravens, and they are committing, or at least attempting to. That's dangerous prospects, because mid-map Drazah is creating a pathway to quickly transition. This is dangerous for London.
A lot of focus. Still trying to invest and maybe trying to find a couple of exits, but just as you were thinking, maybe we find some exits over by A. We set up over by D1, D2. It's all gone awry. Trying to convert over by the B zone. You have only lost a single life so far, Thieves.
This may be one of the quickest offensive rounds on hotel control we've seen in a minute. Third tick of progress on the way. Kill still coming through for London. CapZy trying to put it over the finish line. Octane on 2, trying to find whatever weapons he can, but is unfortunately not able to get the full swap. Although Drazah's going to get a really good look at Scrapz here. Stun will also connect. Long-range shots to Paul also nearly lands. But things will pause for a moment. London trying to set up their defense, but they find themselves down 6 lives and still a minute 50 to kill off the clock.
Oh, deep breaths here. You are the Ravens. Cannot get too hasty with your positioning on the map. Envoy, the Thieves, they know that they can put this one under. The cruise missiles being called in. So hard to finesse it around the corner. It'll connect onto the zone. There's trophy systems above, though. Paul stays alive. Thieves, though, still encroaching forward.
And it gives him a 3v1 in bedroom on the only defender up top. London still trying to force a bit of a retake in. Envoy still stunned. Asim takes the easy kill, backs away. Drazah not able to confirm any trades. Good stuff here from London on the bounce back. Stalled off at least one of the inevitable hits from the Thieves, so still a minute 15 on the clock. Tough gunfight for Scrapz, but the rest of his teammates around him, once more, kind of retake the map for the control of the defense. This is an opportunity to possibly get a little bit extra further forward, because Thieves have to play through shops. There's no avenue through bedroom right now.
No, not at the moment. You know that you have to concede that if you are the Thieves. 17 plays up against 13. You have a whole set of respawns over your adversaries, but time is of the essence. You have to make this worthwhile for how much time it's going to take.
Got great help here from London as well, reading this hit around the back. Scrapz going to make sure no one comes through the blasted hole in the wall. Have they given this up too early, though? Do they understand how many members for LA are here? Doesn't seem to be. Nastie has to double back, and it works out well for a double kill. Envoy still trying to work his way back in. Dead silence in play. He wants to go quickly, and no, he's been allowed to. 12 plays 10. 30 seconds on the clock. Third tick of progress still halfway earned. Have to find a way to stop this clock, though. Asim could be the next thorn. As he gets around the back, good prediction from Drazah, but Asim still wins the gunfight. Is that enough vacancy, though? Now back through mid. A second kill comes through. Thieves need to try to scramble to get on. And London are still kind of swarming around the middle, just trying to hit these little pinches out, keeping Thieves just at bay, at arm's reach. CapZy tries to get on to stop the clock. Envoy with the follow-up elimination. Numbers are here for LA. Nastie down 80, taken down by a friendly trophy system, and the capture will come through at the very last second for LA.
But have gone away with it too if it weren't for that meddling trophy system and that team kill that came through right afterwards. That is just so unfortunate. That 5th player comes into play. You know, that 5th player was the LA Thieves trophy system, just stopping it right in its tracks. It is just so unfortunate because the Ravens really did a good job, as we were talking about. I mean, you had Asim in top bedroom for what felt like 3 years, honestly, as everybody else had to kind of maintain the back P2 area. And as you were saying, there was no way that they were going to be able to fully read how many players for the Thieves were still coming in towards the back. And as soon as Nastie has to double back and double down, he kind of puts it to rest, as Envoy was the only player to maybe touch the zone. But one good break was all that was required there for the Thieves. They have a 2-0 lead, not just in the series, but in the control as well.
Well, they want to go quick here on this defense, try to take away as much space as possible. London happy to take the gunfight. Come away with first blood in the engagement. A second one there also to follow. 3 for 1. You would assume this would be the time for London to get on, stop this clock. But Envoy, other plans in mind. Goodness gracious. Another streak for him on 4 in a row. And maybe catches the Seam off spawn if he doesn't have a knife out. London still trying to stop this clock towards B. Scrapz is nearby, but the focus off spawn seems to be trying to get maybe some attention over towards the A zone instead.
Probably what you're gonna have to do, but you gotta get Capsidol out from the double archway. He has great assistance through the middle of the map, and now Capsidol so close to dead silence. You know, he's just licking his lips. He's waiting for that dead silence charge plate in this corner. He'll find one more. The trade will be there. This has been so expensive for the Ravens just to sniff a zone.
Oh, yeah, and this is just so much information for the Thieves, knowing that the commitment is coming over towards A, although Drazah caught. Seam turns that into a double. And they're not going to stack for A. They want to make the aggressive route over towards B. Capsidol's here to defend this, though. And he's in a great position, bottom valet. This is a bold call. Paul able to get on to keep the clock stopped, but this is not numbers that London can really do too much to find progress on both zones at once. And Thieves are looking to maybe even put the issue a bit further forward by playing for exits here and really put the pressure onto London.
Yeah, you can see this. Capsidol is in towards the back. That silence is about to dissipate. He sees one at range. Triggered his split from Cap. Didn't fully check the right corner, though. That is such an annoying spot to just spot a player out. Scrapz, Nastie, able to combine for 2. They'll probably commit towards the push in the back, especially with the Seam just trying to keep their head in top bed.
Yeah, LA still spawning relatively close. Bottom right-hand side of the map can reinforce this without too much cause for concern. London, you can feel like they want to get on. They thought they had an opportunity to go straight from the old zone right on into new, but denied the opportunity. Another teammate unfortunately coming through as the Seam was trying to find a way to deal with Drazah a little bit more safety, but doesn't really quite work out. 13 plays 13. 60 seconds on the clock. London, you just gotta break the streak. Don't want to go 7 losses in a row on control. Capsidol shuts down the next attack from Seam. Nastie up top does at least confirm 1 trade, but a lot of ground that still needs to be gained here if London want to, in some form, get comfortable on this B zone.
Lives aren't too far gone, though, but map positioning is just not in favor of the Ravens. I mean, Paul needs to go big. Those are not easy shots on Octane, all the way to the backside of the Godheady, but still has 1 player top bedroom to deal with. It's Capsidol, who's 21 in 15, by the way, on a 4 spree, down to the last 30 seconds.
It's just so much nuisance here from LA. Redrop though, London a chance to get on, stop the clock. Octane in the corner. Awareness is there, but Drazah off his cruise missile has a chance to get this down, maybe to find kills. At least forces London off the zone. Right back in goes the Seam, but the Thieves now with numbers trying to contest this from the front. You also got Capsidol on the long route from behind. Keep in mind that the lives are not out of the possibility of being a win condition from either team. 7 plays 5. Capsidol deep. Oh, shots don't connect. And now you look back towards the front. Can you find a way to get back on here? Envoy with 1 elimination. Capsidol up top nearly gets a double, but back and forth we go. Envoy on the pitch. Able to work this with Octane, and the kills are good. 3 lives remain, but the biggest opponent here for London is the clock. 8 seconds. Octane stunned at couches. Everything could turn into 1v1s. First gunfight, won by a Seam, has to get to the zone. It's just down to Drazah. 1v1 with 0.6 seconds on the clock. It's Scrapz, other side of the display case. Drazah working the angle. 3rd tick of progress, possibly to come through. Drazah has to force the gunfight, and he goes. Does he get the 1v1? No! And we go to round 4.
At least you did it via lives if you are the Thieves. That'll be massive implications depending on the segments, but the Ravens stay alive in this map 3. They'll stay alive in the series. This is so tough. We'll see it from Scrap's perspective. The early damage was there from Drazah, by the way. He connects onto Scrap's like right kneecap, and then Scrap's just having to take the gunfight with the Vaznev. I don't care who thinks what the God Gun is. That is just some really clean gunfight win for Scrapz to be able to keep his team alive in this control. Things got very hasty throughout the entirety of that round, Alan, as London almost gave up the A zone just to try to go over towards B. Gave up a lot of lives to do it, but into round 4 we go.
Yep, and that's a lot of resources spent from the Thieves. Most of their cruise missiles already spent. Capsidol mid-map with Drazah. Oh boy, how does he win that gunfight versus Ball? Not good news here for London off the break-off. Nastie keeps the defense somewhat alive. I say that with caution, though, because it's a 3-man stack on towards B. First tick already done and dusted. Scrapz from the back really can't contest this, and they may have to chalk and rotate early. You don't love to see it. London, you need to get into some power positions if you're going to hold off 2 minutes and 10 seconds over towards A.
Almost shades of the pass offense for the Thieves, isn't it? I mean, barring just a little bit of a different break-off, it's 23 points up against 26, and Envoy already has so much space, and Restaurant would have been a big 2 if he took down Scrapz over by Shops. But look at the spatial awareness coming through from the Thieves. You also have to maintain presence that there's a player on the back. It's Nastie who finds 2.
What a little wake-up this is from Nastie on 4 in a row. Octane just dancing. Getting his squats in for the day. Second tick of progress will be depleted, but look how quickly the Thieves have cut right through the defensive spawn. Doesn't seem to be working out too much. A heroic play from Scrapz on the old zone to take 2 down. You don't expect him to be there. And, well, it's just down to Envoy, and he makes good on at least another double of his own. So we go 20 v 17, minute 30 on the clock. Thieves a chance to get back on towards A, but the big problem in front of them is Paul and Kitchen, while the rest of the resources of London are respawning up through Chandelier.
It was the biggest problem with the Thieves versus Toronto, was getting a couple players from Toronto out from Kitchen. Paul has to maintain that positioning and trust of their teammates, clear away the backside of shots. Even being able to find those 2 kills, Paul reprises their presence, now on a 5 spree.
Drazah by himself, just trying to keep his life for as long as humanly possible. See if the cavalry can show up. Oh, and he's got some time here. Problem is, he's a trophy carrier, so no dead silence means the read is in for London, who now have a 2v2 for the front. Simp tries to go to the drop shot. Not going to work out. Scrapz has to be very cautious about how you take this challenge. That's well won on the Capitol. Although, more LA Thieves members nearby, they'll get on. That will likely be the second tick of progress. Time to get things going if you're London. Third tick on the way. The stack is in, and, well, with those spawns all the way bottom right, London know it. No chance to even see the zone. Thieves keep the loss streak pounding down the faces of this London Royal Ravens team. What a convincing series for them. I think the Devs is going to say if they needed to show something convincing, and boy, did they.
Well, convincing apart from the hardpoint win only by 7 points, but I'm sure they'll break that down a whole lot more colorfully than I will. But even that said, yeah, look, if you're a Thieves fan, if you work for the org, if you're one of these players, you knew coming into the series, you absolutely needed this W for Major II implications when we get over to Boston. And what a good showcasing out from one of which is CapsidAll. I mean, night and day difference. Obviously, 2 different opponents is Toronto versus the Ravens, but 30 and 23 on the here in the control. 17 of those 30 eliminations non-traded. About 3,300 damage to back up with Drazah, who was dropping nukes out of his TAC 56. 22 non-traded kills with 4K damage. Yeah, I'll take that AR.
And how about a bounce back day from Envoy as well, just to kind of keep, thrusting some forward conversations towards the Thieves' favor. I mean, I think a lot of the community last night were sitting there saying Envoy just wasn't quite getting it done, but he came to play today. There's the recap. Like you mentioned, a tight affair in the map number 1. Thieves getting a lot of assistance from their emergency sub and capsule to lock down that map, and then from there on out, pretty comfortable scenes through and through from the world champs, the reigning world champs, trying to find a way to get wins in this stage, which is hard for us to really kind of swallow at the moment. And, well, with that, Thieves now an opportunity to possibly escape a very early lower bracket entry towards Major II. I just want to get your quick thoughts before we send things to the desk. Impressed with Caps, impressed with Paul? Maybe some final thoughts from you there, Proper?
I think that London just need a little bit more time, especially when it comes down to Paul coming back into this roster as a whole. Obviously, pick and choosing which players are going to be fielding. It's always going to be growing pains continuously. I'm always going to be impressed with Caps and what he does bring to the table, Alan. You know me all too well, casting him through challengers through the years so far. Just want to see more.
Indeed, same here. But with that, the London experiment continues, and the Thieves, well, Pocket Desk looking like they maybe regained a little bit.
All right, we're ahead of schedule, gentlemen, after that one. And can we get a applause in the chat for my dudes? I hold shift as well as Proper. Awesome to have it. You know what? We're bringing you back on camera. Guys, honestly, how did it feel to cast now on the CDL? You've been watching these players for years in Challengers.
I think the funny thing is for Proper and I, it's like we've watched the majority of these players as recently as a couple of weeks ago, a couple of days ago for CapsidAll's point of view. So as much as it's different, it's also kind of the same in a certain amount of words. I'm sure Proper kind of feels the same way.
Yeah, I mean, it's Call of Duty at the end of the day, right? We've been watching these players both on and off the main stage, whether it's through the qualifiers in the comfy, cozy areas of our offices at home. It just feels really good to be able to do it live here for you all.
Well, you guys crushed it. Excited to have you back on the show later this weekend. But let's break down what we just witnessed here. aLLeY, Cat, and Name was joining me at the desk. And we just saw LA Thieves bouncing back from an 0-3 day against Toronto, now facing off against the lowest seed in the league and getting their 3-0 win. But it wasn't pretty. And that's what I want to hammer home in this hard point. Yes, you're playing with a sub, but that sub, he top fragged yesterday. He continued to play well today. And you put yourself in a dangerous position. Your opponent was 8 points away before Envoy and the rest of this crew clutched up.
Yeah, so on this hard point, right, London Royal Ravens are in a fantastic position. We saw Scrapz, he had the cruise missile. They're spawning over towards stage on Statue Hill. They're trying to get that spawn trap in, and they do actually get it in towards the very end. And what we see is, though, the LA Thieves, a player spawns out over towards stage. They end up breaking on in. It's just a full-on collapse that we saw out of the London Royal Ravens. This is a map that you have to close out. Now, I will say, you know, we went back and rewatched it. I saw, you know, a couple points where Paul was looking for that player in the back. The communication was there, but they're just not able to find him, man. It's just a super unfortunate situation. When you're up that much time, you have to close it out. And what then went on in games 2 and 3, just absolute blowouts.
We had an epic moment in the search and destroy. That's going to be our scuff play of the game. And aLLeY, we don't see too many aces. Havoc got one for us on Fortress. Tonight, we get another one. This Thieves squad, pretty good at search right now. How are we feeling about them?
They actually have been seriously struggling in search. So to see them do well, what's funny is the fact it's on the top of Capsule, who is subbing in for this LA Thieves squad. And I think making an argument for himself at this point, saying, hey, I need to be put in the league. Look what I am doing, being plugged into the LA Thieves roster, who has been struggling in search and destroy. Well, I'm going to get them an ace, and I'm going to go 10-6 for this map to win.
Yeah. Does Capsule become a Raven one day? A lot of questions. Hey, Chat's asking it. I'm just saying it out loud. That's our scope play of the game, and that's coming from a sub who is performing on back-to-back CDL days. Congratulations, Capsule, on your win with the LA Thieves, the first one of the season. But right now, we got to talk with a mainstay. We got Envoy joining us live, and Envoy, congratulations on the win today, bouncing back after the loss against Toronto yesterday. What were the vibes like on the team today? What do you guys talk about coming into this matchup?
Yeah, thanks, Huke. Just going to the matchup, we're just trying to still stick to our game plan. I mean, obviously, we don't have a lot of reps with Cap, but he's been phenomenal subbing in so far. Yesterday versus Toronto, I mean, they're like, you know, a top 3 team in the game right now, super solid squad. So we knew if we just played our game today, that we'd be able to beat the Ravens.
Envoy, so, you know, you guys struggling a little bit at the beginning of this year, just like last year. I feel like every year with the LA Thieves, you guys start off a little bit slow. When I watch you guys, I feel like fundamentally you're making some good plays. When we go to listen-ins, it sounds fantastic. In your mind, what is holding y'all back against some of these top teams?
I think we're just still trying to execute on our game plan and figure out our game plan on a lot of like maps, hills, game modes. Along with stage 2, we might be cursed. We've had quite the unfortunate stage. Everyone's been getting sick. We've had lots of issues, so practice has been very on and off. But generally, we're just, you know, looking to get better each day.
I wanted to know, what is it like having to plug Capsule into this roster, even though it wasn't something you expected or wanted to happen, of course, and we all hope Kenny gets better, but has it changed your team dynamic at all, and have you learned anything from this experience?
I mean, definitely learned some things from Cap each day, but I guess the main thing is that, you know, him and Ken both play really fast and put a lot of pressure on the map. So he has been pretty easy to just plug in, but whenever you're playing with a sub, I feel like the easiest thing you can do is just let him do him. And that's what we just keep stressing, that, you know, let him, like, whatever you want to make a play, you do it, call the play in search, call the play in hardpoint, and we will, you know, fill in around him. So he's done really well so far.
You guys are always fan favorites every time we come around to a major. We've got another one just 2 weeks away in Boston. What do you want to say to the fans who will be supporting you, and what should they be looking forward to from this LA Thieves squad?
I mean, yeah, thank you to the fans, you know, sticking through all the thick and thin. Just, you know, look for us to improve. I mean, like I said, we might be cursed during stage 2, but each and every day we are going to work to get better and prove everyone wrong. There you go, Envoy. We'll let you go celebrate with the team. Give Sam a hug for me, all right? All right, sounds good, Bucket. Thank you, guys.
We're going to make Sam smile today. It's happening. Envoy's giving him a hug. LA Thieves walking away with a victory. And you know this whole squad is going to be feeling a little bit of relief off of their shoulders because they're done for the week now. You just get to watch your VODs. And, well, we got a lot more games coming up. So let me remind you right now about our Call of Duty team packs. You can look like the pros, play like the pros with the new 2023 CDL team packs. We got home and away styles. Also, we got the jerseys live right now in the
CDL store. CallOfDutyLeague.com is the place to pick it up. But when it comes to these team packs, we talked about it yesterday. Ant and aLLeY, they're running the Toronto Ultra. I'm still rocking the 08 Thieves. Even though it's not as good in Warzone, it still looks good on me.
That one's still fresh, right?
There we
got
go.
That red and black. It's looking good.
We got another big matchup when we come back. Don't go anywhere. Can they get back-to-back wins? I know there's a few people checking it out during a watch party. OpTic Texas taking on their opponents in a big one. Will they get the win, or is it Toronto staying perfect in our Stage 2 qualifiers? Find out after this.